Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us as we are continuing our coverage of Washington versus Ali and Ali. I just want to check my audio, make sure I'm all good over here. Just give me a second. We're streaming on another computer, as you see. Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. Okay, sounds good there. Audio okay out there for you guys? So this week's going to be a very busy week, starting with today, Monday. So welcome in. Thank you for joining us. This is my my backup computer, different computer. I'll be streaming over here Stefan Stearns with Jules. That's going to start at 1 o'clock. Over here is Washington versus Ali and Ali, because we're not going to stop just because Stearns is kicking in today. Widespread Panic saying hello, Amy Lee. Alice, good to see you. Yala and Pammy. I think Pammy asked a question. Let me see. Did I see audio was good? Richard, thank you. Richard, you were... Okay, hold on. Let me wipe this again. Okay, there we go. All right. All right. Yes, Colby had a. I saw that, Kelly. I did see that. Hold on. Let me get over there. Hey, Shirley, how are you? Good morning, Amy. Time to stand is there. Ruby saying hello. Silas, yes, we are multitasking today. Mallory, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Michelle Phillips. Aussie Gardner. Deborah saying hello. Michael, thank you. Audio is good. Cool. Yeah, audio check good. Rosa, good. Richard, audio is good. Cool. Cynthia, will you be following Sarah Grace Patrick? Oh, no, I have not heard of that. Sounds good. Sounds interesting, I should say. Not good. Sounds interesting. Hey, Queen Olive, how are you? Arwen saying hello, Court Nerds. Chris saying hello. Good to see you. Yes, change of scenery. Yeah, for those of you that are new, when we dual stream, like usually when we're on Verdict Watch, I'll stream from this computer, and then over here we'll start a new trial or we'll do something else. So this is going to be Stefan Stearns over here. So again, please be kind to our mods, because they're going to be bouncing back and forth. And if you guys want to, straddle streams, we have lots of people do that. We're going to be doing 2 streams today, dual streaming. Stefan Stearns over here, Washington versus Ali and Ali over here. Lori, I live in Washington, didn't know about this. Oh, okay, well, we're in day 5. Green-eyed Cat, good morning to you. Julie saying hello. Kathy saying going to be a great day. Psychosaurus Rex, hello to you. Fur Baby's mom, thank you for joining us. And Shirley Roth, yes, good morning. I hope you're feeling better, Shirley. Melissa, hello to you. Shirley Stanley saying hello. Linda saying hello. Kelsey, good morning. Everyone, hope you all had a nice weekend. We did. Queen Olive is going to be straddling the streams. Absolutely. Brat, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, be kind to our mods, you guys. Give them lots of love, because they're going to be dealing with this stream and then also this stream over here. So, mod love. Yes, thank you, Michelle. Hey, Hector's mom, how are you? Patrick was charged in February for shooting parents. Okay. Callie Graham, you're welcome for the dual streams. Oh, Paulie just went running by. Not sure what's going on out there. Big Bear MG, well, I won't be here long just because I am exhausted from work. I did a 9-hour and 45-minute shift. That's a long one. I hear you. Widespread Panic is going to be taking notes for us today. So I probably won't be able to do any recaps, or very little, because I'm going to be focused on Stefan Stearns, because that's going to be like a kind of a one and done. So I'm going to be, and Jules will be joining us. So I'm going to be mostly focused on that. So I may not do recaps today, but whatever we can't get to today, we'll recap tomorrow. And Stearns will probably end, because it's Florida, East Coast time, and obviously Washington is West Coast time. So maybe I'll be able to do some recaps after Stearns ends. Sarah Sky Craig saying, thank you, mods. Yeah, how does a dual stream work? Well, you have two computers and you can stream two different streams. You know, we have streaming here, streaming over there. And if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see we're going to have two streams going at the same time. BLP 2002 Bud. We'll chill with you at casino this week. Send luck. Right on. Well, good luck with that. Okay, so we left off Thursday, right? Thursday, because they didn't have trial on Friday. So we left off Thursday, and we had, remember we left off with Dr. Jennifer Stenkus. Remember her? She was the out of order witness that came in for the state. Short Life, there you are. I thought I saw you in our chat. Yep, you need to open two YouTube windows with their lives going in both. Yes. Did I not? I didn't explain that very well. Thank you, Short Life. That was pretty lame on my part. Crafty Grandma, good morning to you. So we heard from witness 15 and 16. Sorry about that. My notes. Just reading my notes. Cenabias Rivas. She was pretty cool. Forensic nurse examiner, and Lisa Wall. So we had two forensic nurse examiners. They both Cenabias. She not interviewed, but she examined Fatima the day of, and then we had Lisa Wall, and she did an exam, I think, a month later. I think in December, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Gretchen. Double streams, double ads. Yeah, if you don't have premium, I guess you're gonna get socked. You're gonna get socked with ads. All right. So for those that are new to our channel that don't know the background, so we have Ihsan Ali and Zahraa Ali, father and mother to Fatima, obviously husband and wife. They came to Iraq. Well, actually, Fatima came here in 2008. I'm assuming that's when Mr. and Mrs. came over too. Not 100% sure about that, but I know Fatima came over when she was 8 years old, because she's 18 now. So she came over in 2008 when she was 8. It hasn't been brought in as evidence, but she says that they were, abusive to her. They wanted to marry her off to some older guy. We're not sure how old, 40, 50 years old. I don't know. I'm not quite sure exact age, but they were going to go to Iraq, and Ihsan and one of the daughters, older daughter, were going to stay home because they had to work. So they didn't want Fatima to be home alone, basically, especially because of this boyfriend. And so they wanted her to go to Iraq, and they said they were just going. The mom said they were just going there to get passports for the younger kids. There's two younger boys, but Fatima said that she was going to get married off. So she the day of, she disappears. Well, she leaves home. Basically, she goes to school, and then meets up with her boyfriend Isaiah, and then Ihsan finds her at the school and basically confronts her at the public bus stop in front of like 20 kids waiting for their bus. And he punches Isaiah, and then he puts Fatima in a chokehold. And that's when melee starts, and everybody jumps on him. They're punching him, beating him, trying to break the chokehold. Eventually they do. Fatima kind of gets up, staggers back. Isaiah tries to help her. Zahraa jumps on her. Well, she says she didn't jump on her, I guess. She was trying to get her from behind and try and choke her from behind. So eventually Fatima gets away, and that's where we stand. So we've heard from 16 witnesses. So we're up to 17. Witness number 17 for the state. Defense. Let's see. Amanra. Nice name. Defense has not started their case other than they called an out-of-order witness. They did start, I guess it's not official because the Dr. Stankus, Dr. Jen, she was an ER physician. She was an out-of-order witness. So she came in, but the state hasn't officially rested. Hey there, Cindy. Good to see you. Angelique, good to see you. And Tom, thank you for joining us. Fur Baby's mom, good to see you. Amy Lee, thank you all for joining us in. Let's see, who else is saying good morning to us? Richard, will we cover Kohlberger's sentencing? Probably not. We'll have to see what happens with this trial. If they're in verdict watch, then perhaps. We'll see. We'll decide tomorrow. Most likely not, but we'll see. Psychosaurus, before we settle into our jury box, harness your squirrels, eat a preventative Snickers, and boop the like, friends. Thank you. Cheryl Life, yeah, that was a mess for nothing in my opinion. That was a mess for nothing. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Dr. Jen. Yeah, she didn't move the needle for me at all, right? She did not move the needle for me at all. I'm probably going to guess that she didn't move it for you guys either. Yala says, for some reason, sentencing without having a trial feels anticlimactic to me. Hey, Tammy, good to see you. Capri Law coming in. Good morning to you. Yeah, we're thinking we've heard that there's going to be victim impact statements with Stearns. So it may just be one and done, like sentencing and plea deal and everything. Red Snap, how are you? Psychosaurus Rex, and someone pass the coffee carafe, please. Yeah, sorry, Richard, because we didn't really cover it. We didn't do any of the pre-trials, so we're probably not. Oh, we got Raul Valley. We've put together about an hour and a half of all these interviews that have been going on. Plus, he's got charged again. So we may do that either tomorrow, probably Wednesday. We'll either do that Wednesday or Thursday. Mother of Papillons. I felt the doc played better for the prosecution than defense. That was actually one of our votes out of 300. One of our polls, 399 votes, is Dr. Stankus' testimony helping the defense. 61% of you said not really. 15% said hurting. 14% said sort of helping, and 8% said definitely helping. So, hey Shadow, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Deborah, no, she did not move my needle. The video evidence and the witnesses, one who is an Army veteran. Yeah. Yep, I agree. Hey, Susan, greetings from Jersey. Good to see you. Sally, in the Stearns case, I really pray the mother is not allowed to give an impact statement. Yeah, that's Jen Soto. Yep, is she? Yep. Yala says, the Raul Valley not guilty verdict is wild to me. He has to be sympathy for a cute young man. I think, well, they're retrying him, and it's all going to be the lesser the lesser charges. It's like the assaults. So I think he still can go away for like 40 or 50 years. I have to do my research a little bit more, which I think might be a little bit more appropriate. Like 20 years probably, it would be a little bit more appropriate for him. Not for 125 years he was up for. Allison says, outraged they're recharging Raul. Yeah, I guess we'll probably cover it again. We might as well, right? We did it once, we'll do it again. Oh, here, let me get over to, all right. Let me get in here. All right, get myself sorted out here. Just fix this a little bit. Yeah, they recharged him. They brought up all the charges that were I think the ones that they were hung on. We'll do a full stream on that. It's going to be about an hour and a half. The McGraths had a press conference. Kevin Smith, who was the defense, he had a press conference. The one juror had like 2 or 3 interviews. So we'll put that all together for you guys, and we'll go over that. Yeah, they recharged him. I think there's like four charges, and I think it's on all the ones where they were hung. Oh, Real Happy, are you with us? There you are. Good morning, Real Happy. Always good to see you. I see Lucy's in here as well. Let me see if I can. Where's Lucy? Where's our hissing? My 2 cents. Good morning to you. There you are, Lucy. Gutted that Stearns has been offered a plea. You know what? I go back and forth with that, because I'm kind of glad he did, because if he didn't, Madeline's. I mean, we wouldn't see it, but the jury would see it. It just would be gross. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of glad they're not going to drag her through. Scent Bunny, how are you? Irish Amy back in the house. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. Irish Amy is back in the house. Deborah, you are welcome. It's your birthday today. Well, happy birthday. I'm not going to sing. I don't do that here. But happy birthday. Happiest of days to you, Lucy. I hope all your snakes are hissing. Let's see, who else? Rhonda coming in, new and watching along. Thank you, Rhonda, for popping in and saying hello to us. Everybody's saying happy birthday. Pammy and Shore Life. Lucy H, hello to you. It said plea deal on the paperwork. So the judge still has to accept it, I believe. I think that's how it works, is that the judge still has to accept it. Curviel, good morning to you. Hope you had a good weekend as well. Curviel, it's Lucy Snakes Will Hiss's birthday today. So everybody's saying happy birthday to Lucy. Excited Utterance, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Asphalt Sally, hello to you. Hey, Shanna, thank you for joining us. Missy Russell also saying happy birthday to Lucy. Your birthday's in October, Lucy? Sorry, Lucy Snakes Will Hiss. Different Lucy. Sorry about that. Sorry for any confusion. Hey, Bice, happy Monday to you. MLC saying good morning. Texas Cat saying happy birthday. Lucy saying thank you all. Tyler Fair, good morning to you. So we're just waiting for court to kick in. Day 5 coming up. We're dual streaming for those that are joining us late, which means Stefan Stearns will be over here. I'm on a different computer. So this is going to be Washington versus Ali and Ali. Stefan Stearns will be over here. We're going to kick that in about 45 minutes or so. So my main focus will be over here. So I ask you, please, please, please be kind to our mods, because they're going to be jumping back and forth, as will I. So just be kind to each other. You know the deal at this point. Just be respectful to people in the court, people on the stand. Especially to your fellow chatters and our mods. Our mods do their best to keep this a safe space. So we want to make sure that everybody is in a good place. Northwest, I was going to pull up your chat, but it went away. I see Saudi Girl. Good morning. What's on today's agenda for witnesses? We're back to the state, and I think I heard at least two, if not 3 doctors. They mentioned doctors' names, so I guess we're going to hear doctors. So it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be one of those things. There's Northwest. Hello to you. Silver Fox 74. Hello. How was your weekend? Pretty good. Creative Chaos. When does the trial start? Any minute. Any second, any minute. Lennon, South Carolina. Hello, everyone. I'm a little late. Actually, you're in really, really good shape. Oh, I hear something.
Can I just...
Okay, I'm going to go silent so there's not an echo.
All right. We are present on 24-1-130234 and 24-1-132534, State versus Ali. Ms. Stone and Ms. Zoe are present on behalf of the state. Mr. Kading is present with Mr. Ali, representing Mr. Ali, and Mr. Leary is present with Mrs. Ali and representing Mrs. Ali. We are before the court on a continuation of trial. This morning, I received Mr. Leary's proposed jury instructions, and so I have those, and Mr. Leary handed me my bench copy because I was out here, and then he had emailed it to my judicial assistant, who has since forwarded it to me. And Ms. Stone, you have received those instructions as well?
That's correct, yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Kading, you indicated that you might have some additional instructions to offer to the court as well, and I just wanted to inquire on that.
Your Honor, I'm still working on those.
All right, so tomorrow?
Hopefully. Although I am going to say that I did receive a new instruction from the government late yesterday, so I'm still in the process of putting this together.
All right. Ms. Stone?
That's correct, Your Honor. That's the instruction that the state indicated, I don't recall what day last week. Last week, it might have been Thursday, late Wednesday, sometime on Thursday maybe, as to the exchange between 3508 and 3504 WIPIC, consistent with the information charged in Mr. Ali's case. So we did provide that yesterday to defense counsel. I don't think it's in the right format for the court, so we have to fix the formatting for the court. That's all.
All right, and so when will it be provided to me?
This afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. All right. And I would just indicate that on Friday, I did put together the start of the draft instructions using what I had from the state and what I had from Mr. Kading. I identified just my own notes what I thought was missing, and I will be working on adding Mr. Leary's proposed instructions as well, so that hopefully once I receive the other proposed instructions that people know they're offering as we sit here now, that I can at least get those instructions in a draft format. What I never like to see is when I have provided the draft instructions to the parties the day before we're going to talk about them and no one has looked at them, and so they're reading the instructions instead of us being able to go to the places in the instructions where there is an objection by anyone or exception. That's the most efficient way for us ultimately to address the jury instructions. Ms. Stone, any preliminary issues before we get started?
I think just a forecast to the court, the state has Dr. Kim this morning, and then Officer Chavez. Ms. Zoe is doing Dr. Kim, then we're doing Officer Chavez. The state has Officer Bell here as well to testify this morning. I indicated to Mr. Leary and Mr. Kading yesterday that the state intends to introduce some portions of Officer Bell's body camera. There was a discussion, very short discussion late last night about an objection to that. There was some conversation this morning based on the case law associated with that. I think the objection as to the admission of the body camera itself as a whole, and I don't want to speak for Mr. Leary, but my understanding is that objection itself is withdrawn, but he may have objections to certain portions of that body camera. So I anticipate that the parties are likely following Officer Chavez to ask for a break to see if that is something we can resolve between the parties prior to Officer Bell testifying. I can tell the court we have taken Sergeant Newcomb off of the list for today. So following Officer Bell, we have Officer Howard and then Dr. Gilbert, and those are the state's witnesses for today.
And you anticipate Dr. Gilbert this afternoon still?
Yes, Your Honor.
At 1:30?
Yes, Your Honor.
Or is close there too?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And who is doing the exam of Officer Chavez?
I'm doing Officer Chavez and Officer Bell. And Ms. Zoe has the remainder of the witnesses for the day.
All right. Mr. Larry?
Just to kind of complete the record, Your Honor. So I did provide a case and a statute to the state where it appeared to me that the requirements of the statute weren't complied with, thus making the body-worn video inadmissible. I was provided with an unpublished case that I had not seen this morning that I think runs contrary to my argument, so I'm not making that argument. However, I did not communicate with the state about issues in the section that they're playing because I didn't think it was going to be admissible. So we are going to talk on break about concerns that I have, see if we are in agreement for editing, and if not, we'll bring it to the court. I would have done it beforehand, but I didn't think it was coming in at all. So, but now I'm not making that argument.
All right. Thank you for that information as well. After we conclude with Dr. Kim and Officer Chavez, I will take a recess and we'll address those issues. And if the parties are unable to reach an agreement about what that video exhibit is going to look like, then I will hear argument.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Kading, do you have any preliminary issues before we bring the jury in?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Leary, that was something the state raised, which was also one of your preliminary issues. Do you have any others?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please bring the jury in. And you can have your witness come in, please. Please be seated. Good morning, members of the jury, and welcome back. We hope you had a good weekend and a good Friday since we were not here on Friday. We will continue with the presentation of evidence at this time. Ms. Zoe, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would like to call Dr. Kim.
Dr. Kim, come forward, please. I'm going to place you under oath. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
Yes.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Ms. Zoe, you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm doing well.
And Dr. Kim, if you could, the microphone can, you can adjust it, and then you can also move your seat closer to the microphone. And just speak into the microphone, but leave about 4 to 5 inches between yourself and the microphone.
Okay, great.
If you could please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Sure. My name is Sung Won Kim. Kim is spelled K-I-M.
What is your occupation?
I'm an otolaryngologist.
Okay, and what is a otolaryngologist?
Otolaryngologist is a physician that practices head and neck surgery.
Okay, and where is your place of employment?
I practice in Olympia, Washington. Do you need the address?
No, what, do you practice at a specific medical facility?
Yeah, I'm actually in a private practice. I work at ENT Associates in Olympia. I am affiliated with Providence St. Peter's Hospital.
Okay. And what do you mean by you're affiliated with Providence St. Peter's Hospital?
That means that the hospital grants me privileges to practice medicine and perform surgeries at that institution.
Okay. What is your education background?
I went to college at UC Berkeley, and then I got a master's degree at Georgetown University. I got my medical degree at George Washington University. Do you need specific dates?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. How long have you been a otolaryngologist?
Including residency, I would be at my 18th year now.
Okay. When you say including residency, Dr. Kim, what do you mean by residency?
Residency is the 5 years of training that I had to do before I could practice on my own.
Okay. And residency, does that, I take it comes after graduation from medical school?
It's a good question, yes. So I went to 5 years of residency at the Medical College of Wisconsin in Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Okay.
for 5 years to train to do what I do now.
Okay. And what are some of your responsibilities as a otolaryngologist?
Well, I practice general head and neck surgery, which means for the most part I do ear tubes for children, tonsillectomies. I'm also the primary head and neck surgeon. Specifically, I do thyroid surgeries and other endocrine surgeries around the throat, as well as cancers of the tongue, tonsil, voice box, everything clavicle and up except for the brain.
Okay. And as part of your responsibilities as a otolaryngologist, you mentioned you're also associated with Providence St. Peter's Hospital. Do you also get called to examine patients who have been, say, admitted to the emergency department at Providence?
Yes, that's part of my conditions for having privileges at St. Peter's Hospital, is for me to be able to take call. I take call on average about every 5 weeks for a week at a time.
Okay. And as part of your responsibilities, do you sometimes review CT angiogram scans or x-rays that are done on patients that have been admitted to the emergency department at Providence?
Absolutely.
Okay. What's the purpose of reviewing CT scans or x-rays?
Any kind of diagnostic imaging is to help us find out what the underlying cause of the disease process is, and to hopefully eliminate, if not improve, the outcomes.
Okay. And back in October of 2024, did you review scans that was done on a patient by the name of Fatima Ali?
Yes, I did.
And why were you asked to review the, well, let me ask you this question. Who asked you to review the CT angiogram scans?
I don't recall, but it was one of the emergency department physicians that called me and asked me to review the scans, as there were what he described as abnormalities that he wanted me to take a look at.
Okay. When you say abnormalities, what do you mean by abnormalities?
He gave me a quick story about a young patient who had a traumatic event to her neck. Specifically, I believe he called it a strangulation event. And there was free air, that means air underneath the skin, that was tracking along the trachea and into and around the superior mediastinum.
Okay. And did you in fact review these scans that was done on Fatima Ali?
Yes.
Okay, and what, if any, diagnosis were you able to provide after reviewing the scans?
It was clear that the patient had paratracheal air or subcutaneous air around her trachea that extended down towards her superior mediastinum, and I said as much. I also confirmed, the radiologist read about this. I also confirmed that there wasn't any vascular injury, which is what we worry often with strangulation injuries. And I specifically said that the amount of air, again, if I remember correctly, I specifically said the amount of air in her neck was not a large amount.
Okay. And then you indicated there was air in the, I believe you said paratracheal. Was that on the left side or the right side?
I gotta be honest, I don't recall 100%, but I believe it's in the right.
Could it have been in the left side?
It could have been, absolutely.
Okay.
But I don't recall.
Okay. And what is the paratracheal space?
So the trachea is your windpipe here. Para means next to, so it's the space around, it's a potential space around your trachea, which is your windpipe here.
Okay.
And the witness is demonstrating on his own neck as he was describing that last testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Dr. Kim, have you heard of the term subcutaneous emphysema?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is subcutaneous emphysema?
Subcutaneous emphysema is having air underneath the skin in places where it generally is not found.
Okay. And in this case for Ms. Ali, you indicated there was a free air in the tracheal space. Was the air in the free air in the tracheal space underneath the skin?
Absolutely.
Okay. And based on your training experience, can subcutaneous emphysema be dangerous?
Yes.
And how can it be dangerous?
It can be very dangerous if you develop what we call tension pneumothorax or tension pneumomediastinum. The tension portion means that whatever caused the air to go underneath the skin or around the tissues where it doesn't belong can continue putting air into that region without it being able to be released. So the air can continue building up inside the chest or the neck until it squeezes vital structure so they stop working.
Okay.
I would just indicate that the witness is again using his hands to demonstrate what he is verbally providing in his testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Dr. Kim, what is the, you mentioned the word mediastinum many times now. What is mediastinum?
Okay. I'm not a cardiothoracic surgeon, and I don't generally operate in this region. But the mediastinum is the area around your heart, specifically involving the great vessels of your heart, as well as the trachea, and superiorly on the top, as well as the airways that go into your lungs, called the bronchi, or the bronchus for one.
And for the record, Dr. Kim, as you were explaining what mediastinum was, you were demonstrating with your own body.
I was. Do you not want me to do that? Is that easier?
Well, I'm not going to tell you how to testify. We just have to describe what's happening in the courtroom so that the written record will reflect what's happening.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
And Dr. Kim, was Ms. Ali also diagnosed with pneumomediastinum?
She was.
Okay, and what is pneumomediastinum?
Pneumomediastinum is when air is around and in the mediastinum where it generally does not belong.
Okay. And with regards to pneumomediastinum, can that be dangerous as well?
Absolutely.
And how can it be dangerous?
Specifically, the tension portion of it, of whether or not the air continues to build up and it has no ability to be released.
Okay.
So if there is enough air inside and around the pneumomediastinum, it can squeeze in the great vessels as well as the airway, such that it will stop being able to conduct airflow through, as well as being able to push blood through the great vessels.
Okay. And when you say great vessels, what do you mean by great vessels?
The aorta, which is the major blood vessel that comes out of the heart that feeds all of your body, including your brain, as well as the pulmonary artery, the pulmonary vein. These are all blood vessels that allow blood to return from the from the lungs into the heart, so that we get proper oxygenation.
Okay. And for the record, you were...
Sorry, yes, I was.
It's okay. You're demonstrating with your own body as well again.
Yeah.
You testified, Dr. Kim, that pneumomediastinum can be dangerous due to tension placed on the great vessels.
Yes.
For the great vessels to work normally and properly, is it fair to say that there should not be tension placed on them?
Absolutely. I want to be clear, though. I'm not a cardiac thoracic surgeon. This is not specifically my specialty. However, I did go to medical school, and it's very clear that avoiding tension and pressure along the aorta is more compatible with life than without.
Okay. And then with regards to your diagnosis, where you indicated that Miss Ali had air in her left tracheal space, can strangulation cause air to be present in the left tracheal space?
Yes. Well, so many things can cause pneumomediastinum. It can happen spontaneously. Generally happens more to like thin, tall men in their 20s and 30s. But it can happen even during childbirth if you're straining hard enough, let's say, or trauma, which I believe is what happened here.
Okay.
If you put enough force that prevents air from escaping, then you can expel air from the windpipe or some other part of the airway into the mediastinum.
Okay. You indicated if you put enough force to prevent air from escaping. Force on where?
So generally for strangulation injuries, is generally around the neck, preventing the airflow from coming out. That way it causes increased intrathoracic pressure, and sometimes that pressure goes out at the area of least resistance.
Okay. And the area of least resistance, where would that be?
So I don't know. I didn't look, but it's likely going to be the trachea. In between what's called the tracheal rings, likely, is what would happen.
Okay.
But
So in the last response, before what the doctor just testified to, he was again using himself to explain his testimony.
Okay. And Dr. Kim, you indicated that you did not look. When you say you did not look, do you mean in this case you did not do a further examination of Miss Ali?
That's true. I did not do a further examination of Miss Ali, but the looking that I had to do required an operative management. That means I would have to take her to the operating room, put her to sleep, and put a camera into her throat, into her mouth and throat, and look into her trachea with what's called a rigid bronchoscope.
Okay. And with regards to and I'm going to ask you some more questions about that in a moment, but you testified that she had basically free air in the left paratracheal space. What is the let me ask you a different question. What is the aerodigestive tract?
The aerodigestive tract is, so it specifically addresses your mouth that goes all the way down. So the digestive tract goes from your mouth all the way down into your stomach, from what I deal with. So it's your mouth, your pharynx, which is your throat, your larynx, which is your voice box, and then down into your esophagus. That's the digestive portion of it. The aero portion of it is your nose, your mouth, your pharynx, which is, it's shared, that's why we call it aerodigestive. and then it goes into your larynx, in between your vocal cords, in your larynx, and down into your trachea.
Okay. And again, for the record, you were demonstrating the explanation of aerodigestive tract with pointing to different parts of your own body.
Yes.
And based on your training experience, can a tear in the aerodigestive tract cause the free air that was present in the left paratracheal space for Ms. Ali?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you talked earlier about sort of when there's air building up, it sort of just ends up going out in the portion of the body that's least resistant, that's of least resistance. With regards to when you say the least resistance, do you mean sort of the aerodigestive tract for a tear to develop?
Yes.
Okay. And based on your training experience, can strangulation cause a tear in the aerodigestive tract?
Absolutely.
And how does that happen?
So there's multiple ways that occurs. Generally, the way I've seen it most is the strangulation causes a fracture of what's called the hyoid bone up here.
Okay.
That is a free-floating bone that's above your voice box. Again, I'm pointing to my body to show you guys where things are. This hyoid bone, when it fractures, it can tear and cause a tract to form between your throat and into and around your subcutaneous tissue, specifically along your larynx and your trachea.
Okay. Besides a fracture to the hyoid bone, are there other ways that strangulation can cause a tear in the aerodigestive tract?
Mm-hmm. Just like when you strain hard enough during labor, it can cause you to tear a part of your trachea enough that you blow air through and down around your paratracheal space into your mediastinum. The same thing can occur if you are have an extrinsic force that pushes on the trachea hard enough that if you build up enough intrathoracic pressure, you can also tear a part of your aerodigestive tract in that way.
Okay. And the building up of the pressure, is that in essence when somebody is in the process of is that in essence when external force is pressed on your trachea, you're struggling to breathe?
Yes.
Okay. And in this case, what is the best way to determine whether Ms. Ali in fact had a tear in the aerodigestive tract?
Well, there are a couple ways. I mean, there's multiple ways. We discussed one already, which is I could have taken her to the operating room, put her to sleep, and taken a look inside of her trachea specifically. And I could have also looked in her esophagus with something called an esophagoscope. That's an option. We decided, well, I can talk about that later, but that's an option. That's option number one. Option number two is you could get a study called a swallow study or a barium swallow study. We wouldn't use barium per se. We would use another medium called gastrographin, which is much less irritating along the mediastinum. The thing we worry about for potential violation of the mediastinal space is that we can put more stuff inside of it that can cause her to have a terrible infection.
Okay.
So, and the last study is really getting what's called a CT scan of the chest. All of these, and there may be more that I don't know about, but those are the ones I know about.
Okay. And with regards to sort of doing, I want to talk to you first about option number two, doing the swallow study. Why did you perform that in this case?
No, none of the three things I discussed were not performed. We're not performed. The reason why we decided against performing a gastrographin study is that, or the swallow study, excuse me, with gastrographin. The reason why we decided against performing that specific procedure is one, is that it's a lot of radiation. So it's essentially, the study is performed by you sitting in front of an x-ray machine, and you swallow a bunch of gas or graphene. And then we watch it with with essentially an X-ray machine. It looks like a movie. You can actually see it as it goes down and see if it leaks out into her chest or mediastinum.
Okay.
And one of the big reasons why I didn't want to do that was because the amount of free air that was inside of her paratracheal space and mediastinum was not very much. I would call it a mild amount of air. I, number one, anticipate this will likely get better on its own with conservative management. And number two, I did not want to irradiate a 17-year-old female, as it may, although unlikely, may increase her risk of developing cancer in the future.
Okay. And what about the first option, which you indicated taking her to the operating room and putting a scope?
Okay, that's a great question. Again, it's trying to, just because we can do something, we generally just don't do it. In this case, the risk-benefit of that would have been high. Specifically, the active intubation alone, where we put a tube down the throat into the airway so that we can see whether or not she has a tear inside of her trachea, may make things worse, because we'd be blowing more air and increasing intrathoracic pressure in an area that I was concerned already has a small tear.
Okay.
So looking would have given us a good answer, but it could have made a condition tremendously worse and put her life at danger. If there was something that we could have done about it, that would be a more reasonable plan of action. But given that in most cases, even if we find the tear, we don't repair it generally. We allow it to repair on its own.
Okay. And with regards to, if I'm understanding you correctly, if there was in fact, whichever of the three options you testified about, if you had in fact pursued one of the options, even if you had confirmed that she had a tear in her aerodigestive tract, the solution would have been just sort of, I don't want to call it a wait and see game, but sort of wait and see and have the tear heal on its own.
Yeah. Yes, I believe doctors call that watchful waiting.
Okay. All right.
We were watchfully waiting. My great concern for her was whether or not she would have fevers overnight, chest pain, or shortness of breath. If that was the case, then we would call the cardiothoracic surgeons and have them emergently place chest tubes into her chest to relieve her of any fluid and or air from her chest.
Okay. And with regards to the concerns that you had developing a fever, shortness of breath, are those symptoms of tension pneumomediastinum?
So the fever portion is actually mediastinitis, which is a different process. So although I wasn't very concerned about this, there was a chance that her esophagus had torn a little bit, and then if saliva from her mouth as she's swallowing gets into her mediastinum, then she could develop problems with chest pain and fevers, and that could cause her, then I would be very, very anxious that she would have a very serious and potentially life-threatening problem.
Okay. And with regards to, you testify earlier, doctors call it watchful waiting.
Yes.
In this case, was watchful waiting done in Fatima's case?
Watchful waiting was done in Fatima's case.
Okay. And did you put her on any restrictions, though, after you reviewed her CT angiogram scans?
Specifically, I asked the pediatrician to have her not eat or drink anything when I saw the CT scan. The reason why I asked the pediatrician not to have her eat or drink anything was, one, although my concern was low that she had a tear in her esophagus, I didn't want to make that worse by having her eat a hamburger, let's say, and getting a piece of bread or some type of food particle stuck inside of her mediastinum. Number two, that if she got worse, that if she required urgent operative management, that we wouldn't have to worry about her having food or water or anything else inside of her stomach for us to do a surgical procedure.
Okay. And just want to make sure I understand your testimony. You indicated in this case that she had free air in the left paratracheal space. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and no procedures was done because you were, as you testified, watchful waiting. You were doing watchful waiting.
Yes.
And despite doing watchful waiting, you still had the concern that she could develop
Mediastinitis?
Yes, mediastinitis or tension pneumomediastinum.
Yes, absolutely.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kading, cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, sir.
So you said that pneumomediastinum is not something you generally deal with? Is that what
is
I heard you
correct.
say? Okay. And you know that it can be caused by several different things.
I do.
Okay. For example, blunt force trauma,
Blunt force trauma is one of them.
having weight put on your body,
Having weight put on your body is, yes, is possible.
right? And then we get into things like Macklin effect and all of that. And that's from medical school. You remember those things?
Yeah,
Okay.
Macklin effect is, yes,
Okay. I'm just curious if you're aware of all of the ways it can be caused.
yes.
Okay.
Macklin effect, may I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Macklin effect, generally you can see air along the, like the peribronchial vascular structures. The CT scan did go down to the superior mediastinum, but I don't recall it evaluating her entire chest. I don't believe it did. Again, this is a while ago. It generally does not, and I don't recall if there was air along her peribronchial space there.
Okay. And so, just to be clear too, when you're dealing with pneumomediastinum, you're not always entirely sure what causes it, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And so the wait and see attitude you take is to kind of see if it's something that's ongoing or something that may resolve quickly on its own.
Yes.
Okay. And so in this case, you saw the air, you said, let's take a look and see what happens.
Yes.
Okay.
Watchful waiting.
All right, and so there was no indication of any, well, by the next morning it had resolved, right?
By X-ray, it had, yes.
Okay, which was at 8:39 in the morning, something to that effect?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
but sometime the next morning it had already resolved,
Yes.
which means all the air was gone from inside there.
The modality of diagnostic imaging that they chose was a chest X-ray, which is reasonable given her age, and you don't want to get a CT scan of the chest given the amount of radiation that she had. The gross air on chest X-ray, you're looking for dramatic worsening, which I did not see. Chest X-rays are much harder to find minute amounts of air. So a CT scan would be more appropriate for that. I cannot say if it all resolved based on the chest X-ray, but I would say that it was better on
Okay.
chest X-ray.
And so when something is getting better, that typically means in this case that maybe tension pneumomediastinum is probably no longer a major concern, right?
That is very true, yes.
Very true, because that means that there's not a structure that's leaking air continually into the chest cavity,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Well said.
All right. Now, typically in a case like this where it's something that we'll say resolves quickly, is there any lasting effect from the incident of pneumomediastinum?
Generally, I'm struggling with this question because I'm not an expert in pneumomediastinum. I would say that I don't know what the answer is, but I would anticipate that it's likely no, you
Okay.
won't have long-term effects.
Perfect. Okay, and again, just to clarify, the lack of food and water was for two purposes, essentially. One, we don't want to make things worse by getting a piece of hamburger stuck in there,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And two, if there is a problem that we're not seeing right now, we want to be able to immediately address it, right?
I was looking for specific worsening, and so to clarify, yes, if she was worsening all of a sudden, then she would need immediate attention. Yes.
Okay. And so in this case, where we have a beginning of pneumomediastinum, we have the air in the lungs, it's possible that it resolves the next day.
Yes.
It's also possible it could get worse.
Yes.
And in this case, it did not get worse, right?
It did not get worse based on the chest X-ray the following morning.
All right. Okay, I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Leary, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Kim.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. I mean, I assume that it's every doctor's dream to come in and testify.
No,
right?
this is actually pretty terrifying and horrifying to me. So thanks for saying that.
Well, I really appreciate your honesty, and I'm sure it can be horrifying for many people.
Oh, yeah.
But this shouldn't be too bad. So, okay. So, at the start of the direct, you testified that you didn't see vascular injury. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said that vascular injury is a common result of strangulation cases. Is that? Did you say that?
I want to. The answer is I did say that.
Okay.
So it's not very common, but it's what we look for because it's dangerous.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. May I?
Absolutely.
Okay. The amount of force it takes to restrict, and this is an area that I'm actually expert at, the amount of force it actually takes for you to choke somebody to prevent venous flow, that means blood from your brain going back into your heart, is not very much, about 4 pounds per square inch or so. The carotid artery is a little bit higher, so preventing blood from going from your heart up to your brain is a little bit higher. And if I remember correctly, I want to say it's about 11 pounds per square inch or so. That's about a really firm handshake you can get around the neck. Okay. Sometimes the amount of force it takes for you to strangle somebody and even break the hyoid bone is so much that it causes carotid injury. Specifically because of that, the emergency department has, and I did use my hand to demonstrate what part of the neck I was talking about. The emergency department has a protocol for strangulation injuries to look specifically for carotid injury specifically, as it can cause terrible problems with neurovascular damage. You know, it'll look like a stroke sometimes. You can have carotid blowout, all these other terrible things that can occur. I did not see that on the CT angiogram.
Okay. So what you did see was this loose air,
yes.
Correct? And that was the only thing that you saw that was of significance to you in this case, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's why you were called in?
Yes, sir.
And so what we're talking about is, as you described, free air inside. And your chest is a closed universe, correct?
Yes.
All right. So there's no release valve.
No, there is not.
Or at least not a very effective one. Fair?
Yeah, over time it'll slowly absorb.
Okay.
But yes, there's no obvious release valve.
Okay. And so you talked about it's dangerous if it develops tension in various parts of your chest and your neck area, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And that is because it's kind of a one-way. So if there's a tear and it's an open tear, that air is then going in and pressure is building, correct?
That is correct.
And your body doesn't have the ability to actively quickly release that air.
Exactly.
Okay.
Generally, the rate of absorption is much, much slower than how quickly you can build up the air inside.
Okay.
There.
And so we didn't, in this case, see any of that ongoing buildup of air. Fair?
That is fair.
Okay.
May I expound on that?
Sure.
The CT scan was done, I believe, a few hours afterwards.
Okay.
The amount of air I saw wasn't great. There wasn't a lot of air inside of her.
So let me interrupt. So when you say wasn't great,
So
what does that mean? Like danger, or not
Right.
a great amount?
So it wasn't that it was a small amount of air,
Okay.
right? So when I do neck surgeries, I can cause pneumomediastinum, okay? Just because I open up the neck, I'm operating along the trachea and such, right? When I see that on a chest X-ray or a CT scan the following day, I'm not generally worried about it because I know that there's no more air going inside the body, right? So for her, I thought, well, she may be already absorbing some of this, and that's the reason why we're seeing definitely air, but not a large amount. I was a lot less worried about tension pneumomediastinum at this point.
Okay. And so we talked about kind of things that can go wrong, right? And that's why you're watching her, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Why she was admitted.
Just have to have a verbal response.
Sorry. Yes.
And that's why she was admitted overnight, correct?
Yes.
And what you then talked about is just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Absolutely.
Okay, and so the watchful waiting in the morning, if you had seen fever, chest pain, shortness of breath, you then go to we're gonna take those additional steps to research it, correct?
Very good, yes.
Okay. I was trying to pay attention. So I mean, there's no need to scope. I mean, if it's going to resolve on its own, we don't need to scope, correct? Right. We don't need to do the swallow study.
Right.
And we don't need to do a CT scan of the chest, correct? Because of the amount of air, correct?
Yes.
And she wasn't showing signs of further distress.
Right.
Okay.
She was asymptomatic at this point, from what I understood.
Okay. All right. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Zoe, redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Kim, when Mr. Kading, the first defense attorney that asked you some questions on cross-examination, he asked you about the different other possible ways that can cause pneumomediastinum. Do you remember that line of questioning?
I do.
Okay, and I believe one of the things he mentioned was that, in essence, having pressure placed on you, like on your chest, could in fact cause pneumomediastinum.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. Based on your training experience, in a situation if somebody is, for whatever reason, holding their breath, and all of a sudden sudden pressure is being placed on their chest, can that cause pneumomediastinum?
From what I've read, that it can, yes. So any kind of chest trauma.
Okay.
So a sudden force to the chest can cause pneumomediastinum, yes.
Okay, and for the sudden force to the chest to cause pneumomediastinum, in the situation where the person is holding their breath, does it, for pneumomediastinum to occur, does it require the person to, essence, still be holding in their breath when the sudden pressure is being placed on their chest?
If there's no, the answer is probably yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen studies on that, but the way it occurs is that the glottis is your vocal cords and your larynx. Again, I'm pointing to my body. And when it shuts, that allows you to, that prevents any kind of air from escaping your lungs. If you hit your chest hard enough at that point, you're going to increase the intrathoracic pressure, and without this release valve opening up, the air sometimes has to go somewhere, and it can pick a weak area, an area of least resistance, if you will.
Okay. The release valve you're talking about, based on your training experience, for most people, would the release valve in essence open up unless there was something else that was causing it to be shut?
Yeah, it should open.
Okay. And so based on your training experience, the release valve you're talking about, if somebody was holding onto their breath, is it fair to say that they would, in essence, release and exhale once the sudden pressure ends up being applied to their chest?
Yes.
Okay. And on October 18th of 2024, when you first reviewed the scans that was done on Ms. Ali, you testified that the next day you didn't have any concerns due to the fact there was the presence of free air was in essence, had disappeared. But on October 18th, at that time, when you first reviewed the scans, did you still have the concern, did you in fact have the concern that she could develop tension pneumomediastinum?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if I thought that she didn't have any chance of something life-threatening happen to her, I would have said you can just discharge her home. But I was absolutely concerned for a potential life-threatening tension pneumomediastinum, yes.
Okay, and then what about the concern for mediastinitis? I believe that was the correct pronunciation? Okay.
Yes,
I
it
finally
is.
got it right. Was that also a concern on October 18th when you first reviewed her scans?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I specifically that's one of the big reasons why I recommended not to eat or drink anything until the following morning.
Okay. And you indicated that the following day when you saw the, in essence, free air had disappeared from her aerodigestive tract and then also from her mediastinum, that was the next day after reviewing the subsequent scans. Is that right?
That is correct. I want to be clear. The free air, she probably still had a little bit there.
Okay.
The chest x-ray is not specific enough, sensitive enough to detect really minute amounts of air. So when you say disappeared, it makes me a little uncomfortable. It probably didn't disappear. It was probably just much less.
Okay. But on October 18th, when you first reviewed her scans, did you at that time have the concern that she was possibly still leaking air?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
Mr. Kading, recross.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, you twice have mentioned the hyoid bone in your testimony, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's a small bone in your throat?
It's above your larynx. I'm again pointing. This is your voice box here. Men generally have Adam's apples. It's just above that. It's a free-floating bone, one of the few free-floating bones you have. Mm-hmm. And it looks like the letter C. And it just floats, connecting some of what's called your strap muscles that allows you to swallow better.
Okay, and I believe you said that sometimes gets broken during a strangulation event?
Yes, sir.
Was not broken in this case?
It was not broken in this case.
And you said it took how much force? 11 pounds of force, was it?
11 pounds. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember the exact number, but I believe it's 11 pounds per square inch.
Okay, all right. But only 4 pounds per square inch to cut off the blood flow?
For the venous return. That means the blood flow from the brain returning back to the heart.
Okay.
Which again is a little less than a firm handshake.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Larry, any further cross-examination?
Thank you for being here.
Any further direct?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Kading?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Larry? You are excused. You may step down and you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Ms. Stone, call your next witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. This day would call Officer Chavez. May I step out?
You may. Members of the jury, if you'd like to stand briefly while we're waiting for the next witness, you're welcome to do so. Come forward, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct? I do. Please be seated. Looks like everyone is seated again, so you may inquire when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, I'm Officer Chavez.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Tori Chavez, C-H-A, V as in Victor, E, Z as in zebra.
Thank you. And Officer Chavez, I'm going to ask you to move just a little bit closer to the microphone if you don't mind. And if you need to adjust it, it moves, okay? Officer Chavez, are you employed?
I am.
How so?
I'm employed with the Lacey Police Department.
Okay. What do you do for the Lacey Police Department?
I'm employed as a police officer on the patrol schedule.
Okay. And how long have you been employed with the Lacey Police Department?
I was hired in September of 2023, and I received my commission in June of 2024.
And is that all of your time in law enforcement?
It is.
Okay. Can you describe your training and experience, please?
Yes, I have a Bachelor of Arts with an emphasis in Japanese language. I completed the Washington State Basic Law Enforcement Academy, which is 720 hours training, including criminal law, criminal investigation, collisions, first aid. I've also completed a 8-hour deaf awareness workshop, a 32-hour course in drone operations, and recently a 16-hour interview course.
And as a patrol officer, what do you do? What are your duties?
My duties are I'm assigned to a specific area of Lacey, whether it's north, central, or south. I'm responsible for answering calls of service. Could be anywhere from just answering phone calls for public service, answering questions about Lacey municipal codes, Washington state laws, doing investigations into burglaries, thefts, also in doing traffic enforcement.
Okay. And were you employed by the Lacey Police Department then in October of 2024?
I was.
And were you working or on duty on October 18th, 2024 at approximately 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
I was.
Did you become involved in an investigation occurring at Timberline High School on that day?
I did, yes.
Is that at 6121 Mullen Road Southeast in Lacey, Washington?
I believe so, yes.
And did you go to that location?
I did.
Who did you, if anyone, go to that location with?
I went with my field training officer, Officer Bell.
What is a field training officer?
They're responsible for making sure that once we graduate academy, we meet the requirements that the Lacey Police Department has for new entry-level officers. So with him, he was my phase 3, which would be towards the end of the training that the department gives new officers.
And when you say you went there with him, does that mean you share a vehicle? You
Yes.
go in pairs? What does that look like?
At that point, on that phase, I was the driver of the vehicle, and he was sitting in the passenger seat in the front.
And do you know about what time you arrived?
I think it was approximately 2:24.
And well, first of all, which direction are you coming from?
I was coming from Ruddle Road, so I was going to be traveling eastbound on Mullen Road.
And what did you observe when you arrived?
I observed moderate to heavy traffic. It appeared that school had just let out. There's the high school on the left-hand side of the road if you're going eastbound, and then there's another elementary school farther down the road. So there's a lot of cars coming and going from that area, school buses, things like that.
When you say another elementary school, is that on the left-hand side of the road or the right-hand side?
It would be the right-hand side of the road.
Okay, so across the street and a little bit farther down from the high school, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So you said you observed medium to heavy traffic in the area due to school ending and those two schools. Is there anything that specifically drew your attention as you were arriving?
Yes, there was a group of people standing on the sidewalk on the Timberline side, so at the left-hand side of where I was facing.
Okay, and where, were there any markers or landmarks, so to speak, on that left-hand side of the road where you saw that group? Something to orient the jury to?
So there was the Intercity Transit bus stop at that location, and then just east of that is the entrance to the school's parking lot.
And where did you see that group of people in relation to that Intercity Transit bus stop?
They were roughly gathered around where that bus stop pole is.
You said where the pole is?
Yes.
Okay. And were there any other officers on scene yet at that time?
Yes, I did. I saw one other officer.
Do you know who that officer was?
Officer Hang.
Okay. Where did you see Officer Hang?
He was in the like bark or dirt part of the school grounds. He was bent over and kneeling and holding somebody down.
Okay. Were there any other individuals with Officer Hang?
There was an adult male.
Okay. And was that adult male an officer or a civilian?
It looked to be a civilian.
Okay, and you said they were holding someone down. Was the person they were holding down an adult, a child, or something else?
Appeared to be an adult.
Adult, male or female?
Male.
And was that person an officer or a civilian?
It was a civilian.
Okay. And you said there were a crowd of people there. How would you describe that crowd of people? Is that were those adults, children, or something else?
They appear to be primarily high schoolers.
Okay. What did you do next as you were arriving? Where'd you go?
I pulled my vehicle into the left turn lane to go into Timberline High School. I had my red and blue lights on. I exited my vehicle and approached to where Officer Hang was kneeling on the ground. And then at that point, we asked what he needed to assist him.
Okay, and what was your duty then in terms of assisting?
I was to gather the witness statements from anybody that had seen what had occurred prior to my arrival.
Okay, and where did you do that?
I did that at the inner city bus stop.
Okay, and who were you gathering witness statements from?
I got their names.
Well, I'll get there.
Okay.
Who were you getting witness statements
I
from?
was getting witness statements from the high schoolers that were at the bus stop.
And do you remember specifically who you spoke with at the bus stop? Where or when did you speak with Ms. Carter?
I first approached the teenagers that had stated that they had seen what happened.
And again, without repeating anything anyone told you, where or when did you speak with Ms. Carter?
When I initially made contact at the bus stop.
Did she provide you a statement at that time?
She did not, no.
Okay. Was there a bus coming at that point?
She stated that she needed to catch a bus. Yes, I did not see one at the time.
Okay. And did you get her information to take a later statement?
I did, yes.
Okay. At some point during your investigation, let me back up. At any point during your interaction or your time on scene, did you come in contact with anyone by the name? What about Ihsan Ali? Contact.
That would be in the parking lot proper of the Timberline High School.
Was that before or after you made contact with? And when you observed Zahraa and Ihsan Ali, how would you identify how they appeared in terms of what they were wearing? I mean, who was wearing what?
Ihsan was wearing I believe it's a headscarf called a hijab. She was wearing a black, raincoat or overcoat, a blue button-up shirt, and black pants.
Okay, and what was Zahraa wearing?
She was also wearing a hijab and a long, ankle-length, overcoat, something that was black, with some sort of leopard print dress or long covering underneath.
Okay. At some point during your investigation, did you become familiar with the name of? Okay. At what point of your investigation do you recall you became aware of Fatima Ali?
Well, when I spoke with Ihsan and Zahraa, they had mentioned their daughter.
Okay. And were you able to determine, based on a conversation with Zahraa, who Fatima was in relation to Zahraa?
Yes.
And who was Fatima in relation to Zahraa?
Zahraa said it was her daughter.
Were you able to determine what were you aware at some point of anyone by the name of, and based on your conversation with Zahraa, was any connection between Isaiah and Fatima?
Yes.
What was that connection?
From my understanding was that Isaiah was Fatima's boyfriend.
Do you recall during the course of your conversation with Zahraa Ali whether she made any statements about Isaiah specifically.
Yes.
And what did she say about Isaiah as it related to her daughter?
She stated to me that Isaiah was changing her daughter's mind, and that he was a danger to her.
And were you speaking during the time that you had contact with Zahraa and Haneen? Were you speaking to both women, just Haneen, Zahraa, or something else?
I was speaking to both.
And was Haneen relaying to you what she believed had occurred that day as well?
Yes,
And was that conversation with you in English?
it was.
And during your interaction with Haneen, did Zahraa provide details?
She did.
What did that look like? Meaning, did they speak individually? Did they provide a group statement? What did that interaction between Haneen, Zahraa, and you look like in terms of pace or smoothness of that conversation?
It was relatively choppy. When I would direct questions at Haneen, Zahraa would interject, or they would start talking over each other, so it was a little difficult to follow at times. When I would ask clarifying questions, Zahraa would often interject with her recollection of events.
Okay. And was that communication with you, from Zahraa with you also in English?
It was.
During the course of your interaction with Zahraa Ali, did she indicate to you whether she had observed Isaiah punching her husband?
She did.
Did she indicate what that looked like?
She made gestures with one of her arms in a punching motion, or like a rapid punching motion.
Okay. So what did she say about her observations of Isaiah punching her husband?
She said when she arrived, she saw Isaiah hitting her husband.
And did she indicate if her husband was on the ground at that time?
She did not.
And did you ask them to clarify where they were when they made the observations about Zahraa hitting her husband?
I did.
And what was the response?
The response was both of them answered at the same time. Haneen stated that...
Without introducing what Haneen said, please.
Okay. Zahraa made a gesture based off where she was standing towards the school and was saying that they fled in that direction. They being Fatima and Isaiah.
How did Zahraa appear to you when describing what was happening, which she said she observed happening to her husband when she arrived?
She was upset. She would pace back and forth. Her hands would either be clasped in front of her or wringing her hands. She would break down in sobs occasionally, but I'd never observed any tears or a reddening of her face or anything like that.
Okay. Did Zahraa make any statements about what she believed or what she was relaying Isaiah had done to her?
Yes.
Did you observe any visible injuries to either woman, either Haneen or Zahraa?
I did not.
How did their clothing appear to you, meaning what condition or state was their clothing in?
It did not appear disheveled. I didn't notice any marks of dirt, smudges, creases, anything like that.
When you, at some point during your interaction with Zahraa and Haneen, did you give them any instructions or directives about where they could go or what they could do while on the scene?
I did, yes.
And how would you describe their responsiveness to those directives?
At times they appeared not to hear what was said, or they were slow to respond in the affirmative of not doing what I asked or doing what I asked.
Okay. And so during the course of the time, was there any request from Zahraa to speak with her husband?
Yes.
Okay. Was she immediately allowed to do that?
No, she was not.
And what did that interaction look like? How would you describe that period of your interaction with Zahraa?
She became upset. She continually repeated that she just wanted to speak to her husband, and began kind of pacing around or trying to move past where myself and other officers were standing at the time.
And did other officers have to intervene to stop her from going to her husband?
Yes.
What was Haneen doing during this period of time without repeating anything that she was saying?
She was following Zahraa.
How would you describe her demeanor?
She was also upset. She was slightly more calm in her tone and pitch when she was speaking with me, but she was visibly also upset.
And when you say upset, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean by upset? I know that is a general term, but what does that look like?
Her voice would raise in pitch. She would kind of sob, speak rapidly, breathe rapidly, pace around.
Did they continue to try to get to Ihsan Ali despite officers' instructions?
Yes.
Did you eventually allow Zahraa to speak with Ihsan?
Yes.
And what about Haneen?
She as well.
And did you hear any of that conversation?
I heard the conversation, but I did not understand it.
What do you mean?
It was not in English.
During the course of your interaction with Zahraa Ali, did she ever ask you about the health or welfare of Fatima?
She did not.
Did she ask you about Fatima at all?
She asked to speak with her.
And just speak with her?
Yes.
At any point, did you observe whether Zahraa ever attempted to return to the school?
Yes.
And what, if anything, did she say about that?
She says that she wanted to speak with her daughter.
For how long?
Initially, she just repeated, I want to speak with my daughter, she's my daughter, and then when I repeatedly told her that she was not allowed to do so, she said she just needed 1 minute.
What was her initial response when you told her that she could not do that?
She became upset. Eventually, she went and took a seat on one of the curbs where the parking stalls were and began rocking back and forth and repeating a phrase I didn't understand.
I'm sorry, repeating what?
A phrase that I didn't understand what she was saying.
Okay. Did you tell her whether she was being seen by fire or medics?
Yes.
And at that point, did she ask about the physical condition of her child, like whether she was okay?
She did not.
Officer Chavez, how did you find out that Fatima had been choked or strangled by Ihsan?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for legal conclusion. Well, and also calls for hearsay. And hearsay.
Sustained as to form of the question.
Officer Chavez, at any point during your interaction with Zahraa Ali, did she mention her husband's interactions with her child?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Just a few questions. Good morning, officer.
Good morning, sir.
So, when you arrived on scene, Mr. Ali was laying on the ground? Is that
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is it fair to say then that by the time you got there, pretty much the entire incident up to that point you got from other people, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the people that you talked to were the kids that were around there, right?
Correct.
All right. And now, I think it might have been you. Let me ask, was it you that tried to get the written statements from those kids?
That's correct.
Okay, and you didn't have any forms?
That's correct.
Okay, so you never got any written statements?
That's correct.
Okay. And you, at that point, things were pretty fresh. I assume you hadn't seen any videos or anything?
I had not. No.
Okay, so all the information that you were going on was based upon what people were telling you?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. No more.
Mr. Leary, cross-examination.
Good morning, Officer Chavez.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for being here.
All right, so if I understand correctly, you get dispatched to this call?
Correct.
Do you recall how long it took you to get there?
Maybe 10 minutes?
And you were roughly the second officer that you saw on the scene?
Correct.
And Officer Hung had Mr. Ali detained on the ground, correct?
Correct.
And you walked up and said, basically, what do I need to do?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And that's kind of typical protocol, right?
Correct.
See if there's what the other officer needs. If he had needed assistance, you would have provided it, fair?
Correct.
But he didn't ask you to help, correct?
Correct.
And so you saw students standing around, and logically it then made sense to talk and find out who knew what
Correct.
and get their information.
Correct.
Did you separate the students to talk to them individually?
I did not know.
Okay, so they're all talking in a semicircle around you,
Correct.
and you're taking notes?
Correct.
And you also have your body-worn video activated, is that fair?
That's
And is
correct.
it on throughout the entire process?
It is.
Did you review that prior to testifying today?
I did.
Okay. And that's what it's for, right?
Correct.
And so, did you have concerns about kind of witnesses hearing what other witnesses said and having it impact their observations and ability to provide independent descriptions?
In the moment, no.
Okay. How about later?
Well, now that I'm no longer in training, I could see the benefit to trying to separate or isolate each individual witness, yes.
And what benefit would you see by having people separate?
Making sure that the witnesses aren't borrowing words from other witnesses.
Okay. And so, understanding the timeline, so you arrive, you see a fellow officer, you see Mr. Ali, correct?
Correct.
You do not see Zahraa Ali initially, correct?
No, I did not.
And so you're taking time. Do you recall how long it was you were talking to Caleb Fisk, Eric Price Jr., Athena Rich, and Zayla Carter?
No, I don't recall how long I was.
But you were kind of talking to them at the same time, sequentially. This is a large conversation, correct?
Correct, yes.
And it wasn't a brief conversation, correct?
Correct.
And you'd also gone back to your patrol car to see if you had witness forms, and you didn't have them, correct?
Correct.
All right, so then you come back. At one point, Zayla Carter says, hey, I got to go catch my bus. And you may have indicated that you would follow up with her, or somebody would, correct?
Correct.
All right, so then you then see Zahraa Ali and Haneen Ali coming back from the school, correct?
No.
Okay, you didn't know where they came from, fair?
Well, correct, yes.
So you didn't see him initially, but after this passage of time, you then have interaction with Zahraa and Haneen, correct?
Correct.
And at this point, you had not had contact with Fatima Ali, correct?
Correct.
And did you say that you did see her at the school?
I did not know.
Okay, so at no point did you see her at the school?
I did not know.
So that's affirmative?
Correct.
Okay, I just, for the purposes of the court report, I want to make sure we're on the same
Yes,
page.
sir.
All right. And so you subsequently learned that there was an incident, that the reason for the call was an interaction with Fatima Ali, correct?
Correct.
And that's what you were there talking about and investigating, correct? And so after this passage of time, your attention is then drawn to Zahraa Ali, correct?
Correct.
All right. And you described her as upset, correct?
Correct.
And so emotionally upset. Just by looking at her, you could tell that something was going on, correct?
Correct.
And that she was pacing back and forth, correct?
Correct.
Wringing her hands, correct?
Correct.
And sobbing.
Correct.
Okay. And I think you didn't see actual tears, but in terms of kind of somebody who is very distraught. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So she had asked to see her daughter. And so did you know from other officers or from some other source as to where Fatima was?
Yes.
And that was, in your understanding, at the school, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so she asked you for permission, hey, can I go back to the school to see my daughter? And did you check with others, or did you just tell her no?
I told her she was not allowed to at this time.
Okay. And so when she heard that, she was so upset, she then sat down on a curb, started rocking back and forth. Is that what you described?
Correct.
Okay. So then at some point, she is asking to talk with her husband, correct? And he is detained at this point with other officers, correct?
Correct.
And there were multiple officers who were talking to her about whether she could talk with her husband, correct?
Correct.
And you heard those conversations?
Correct.
And there was a discussion to her like, at some point, yes, we will let you talk with your husband, but just not right now, right?
Correct.
Okay. And she continued to be very upset as to what was happening and what was going on, correct?
Correct.
You did not take a statement from her, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't sit down and say, hey, I want to interview you, I want to get the facts as to what happened, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so the statement, like, she didn't describe her husband's interactions with their daughter, Fatima, that you didn't ask her, I want you to tell me what happened, what led up to this, correct?
Correct.
All right. So your interactions with her were primarily, hey, can I go see my daughter, which you said no, correct?
Correct.
Can I see my husband? And you said no, correct?
Correct.
And then her kind of continued grief as to everything that appeared to be going on. Is that fair?
Sounds fair.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Chavez,
Yes, ma'am.
you indicated that you took those statements and you reviewed that prior to today. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And when you took those statements from Caleb Fish, statements all exactly the same?
The majority of it was the same, but each one would add a little bit of a different take on it.
Is it fair to say based on their own vantage point?
I would say so.
When you, how long, if you know, how long would you estimate your contact was with Zahraa during the course of your time on scene?
I would say no less than 15 minutes
Collectively?
collective.
Okay. And during the course of that, did she provide you a statement? Meaning, did she come to give you a statement?
Objection.
Sustained.
During the course of your time with her, did she voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
Sustained.
During the course of the time that you interacted with her, did she attempt to give you details about the events?
Objection.
It's about Zahraa Ali.
I understand that. Members of the jury, it is 10:28, and so we are at time for our morning recess. I will tell you that we do anticipate that this is longer than a 15-minute recess, 20, maybe 30, hopefully 20, but longer than 15 minutes, and then we'll have you back in. Thank you so much for your time and attention. You step down, we'll have you back on the stand after our break, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Did I exit?
Yes, not that door, that, thank you. Mr. Larry, go ahead and make your objection, please.
Your Honor, objection as to commenting on, my client has a right not to say anything, and the fact that she didn't freely offer additional information is shifting the burden to her and infringing on our Fifth Amendment right, and also rights under the court rules.
Thank you. Ms. Stone?
Your Honor, that's not accurate. Ms. Ali, Zahraa Ali specifically approached with Henny and Ali because they wanted law enforcement to know what their position was. Those statements have already come in. They were not in custody. They're not custodial statements. Notably, the case law also is very clear that the state can identify when statements are made, that right to not speak has been waived, and what has not said is equally as important as what is said. So there is no basis for the objection in either what has occurred in terms of the testimony here, in fact, or in case law to support that.
Mr. Leary? Right. So, Ms. Stone, since we're going to have a break, my understanding of the law is consistent with what Mr. Leary just argued as it relates to Ms. Ali's right to remain silent, and the fact that she remains silent ultimately cannot be used against her during the trial. If you have a case that you would like to refer me to, you don't have to give it to me the second. You can look for that. I certainly would like to review additional authority, as you indicated that there is. And once we take our recess, you can provide that information. I know also the parties will be discussing the video as well. So we'll take a 15-minute recess, and then we will reconvene. And we'll first discuss the video when we reconvene, and then if there's additional authority, I will take it at that time and take a brief recess to review that before I ultimately rule on the objection. The court will be in recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
All rise. Court's in recess.
Get off!
Stone ran to the restroom.
Thank you. When we took our recess, I indicated that we would first deal with the video if there were contested issues, and then I would deal with the objection. I'm going to reverse that order. I had an opportunity to review the cases that were that Ms. Stone alluded to in her argument to me as it related to the objection. I was provided copies of those. I was provided copies of State versus Hager, 171 Washington 2nd, 151, 2011, I believe. State versus Clark, 143 Washington 2nd, 731, a 2001 case, and State versus Young, which is a 1978 case, 89 Washington 2nd, 613. Mr. Larry, did Ms. Stone provide you with those cases or cites to those cases?
I received copies of Young, Hager, and Clark, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you. Do you wish to offer any further argument?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I think the difference here is, so in Clark, the court holds that when he provided conflicting accounts as to why he didn't follow Lieutenant Heggie's instructions to meet with the detective at the Dolphin House, the key was that he had offered a conflicting account in response to specific questions. And I'm just throwing out, this is on page 28 of 38,
yep.
Our copy. And so then I'm looking at, looks like head note 26. With respect to Hager, I'm looking on page 7 of 10, just above head note 3. Again, defendant spoke to the police on 2 occasions prior to his arrest, gave conflicting accounts as to why he failed to meet with officers at the crime scene as he had promised. And then Young, it was this question as to whether or not he had specific knowledge of the crime, and his questions around specific knowledge. Here, the state, I think, is trying to elicit the fact that she did not provide questions or statements or inquire about her daughter. Factually, we know there's an incident. My client runs to the school. I anticipate that the testimony tomorrow from a witness is going to say that my client ran into the school, was told to leave, and was then said, "You cannot see your daughter." The officers who were in the parking lot talking to my client specifically, this witness never went to the school, never saw Fatima, told my client that she could not return to the school, and never asked her questions. And that's the key thing, is she didn't ask her questions. Tell me what happened. Tell me about your daughter. What did you see about your daughter? Do you have anything you want to share with me about your daughter? And so I think that is where it would get into Hager and Clark if there were questions. I mean, this is essentially saying you didn't provide a statement when you weren't asked. And so it's not relevant. I don't think it's fair. I mean, the witness said, I didn't interview her. There was a request to see the daughter, which she was shut down by the detective, by the officer. So there's not a conflicting, like, we asked you what happened, and now you're saying, I saw, a gun.
well, how come you never told us you saw a gun? That's a relevant question where there's a serious breach of, you're now offering some really different testimony, and that's just not here.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stone?
Thank you, Your Honor. Plainly, that's not the requirement of the case law. Clark says that there could be a number of different circumstances, but specifically that when you are talking about when a defendant does not remain silent, and I'm looking at head note 25, which is at page 765 of the opinion. When a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police, the state may comment on what he does not say. Then it cites to Young, it cites to Osborne, which is vacated on other grounds. Hager is also addressed as well. I let law enforcement, I let defense counsel know of an unpublished case as of recently as 2021, State versus Johnson, which restates the same thing. There is no infringement on a defendant's right to remain silent when they make statements to law enforcement, when they provide a version of events to law enforcement, and they actively do not provide other events to law enforcement. They don't make other statements to law enforcement, especially when one might expect them to make those statements. The rule does not require that questions are asked. The rule does not require that there are, and the case law does not require that there are conflicting statements. Plainly, that is not part of the analysis. It is simply once they have waived their right to remain silent, that opens the door for what the parties can inquire about what was said, how it was said, and plainly what was not said. So in this case, you're right. I believe counsel is right. Officer Chavez did not specifically inquire about the status of Fatima, but what the officers did do is consistently ask everyone present, what's going on? Can you tell me what happened? Can you tell me what's going on? And the only information provided by Mrs. Ali as to those events was what Isaiah was doing to her husband, and she was adamant, and it was repeated over and over again. Not once does she mention what her husband is doing to her daughter. That is relevant, that is significant, and it specifically goes to the interest of Miss Ali during the course of these events. It is notable, too, I would say for the state, that when we are talking about, it's not unfair, it is Mrs. Ali's statements. Mrs. Ali actively engaged, voluntarily engaged. She's not arrested. She is not in custody. It is not any part of any pre-arrest silence. She is voluntarily providing that information because she wants law enforcement to act in a certain way. When counsel argues, well, she was told she couldn't go to the school. She was also told that she couldn't go see her husband, and law enforcement had to continually intervene. She consistently declined to follow their directives. So it is absolutely relevant when we are talking, one, about where Miss Ali's interests were at the time of these events, that is inconsistent with what I anticipate the argument has been or is going to be at closing by defense counsel. It's also inconsistent with the cross-examination questions that counsel has presented during the course of this trial about Mrs. Ali saying, my daughter, as if that was her primary concern. Her interaction with law enforcement says otherwise. Additionally, we have gone through this trial having defense counsel arguing that Mrs. Ali doesn't understand English, that her ability to understand, let's say, the substance of no contact orders and trespass orders is impacted by her ability to understand English. These interactions with law enforcement specifically speak to contrary information to that knowledge, and that she's able to offer the information when she wants to offer information, and she chooses not to when she chooses not to, when that is of import to her. So the inquiries that she actually made about her daughter are relevant. The inquiries that she didn't make about her daughter, and specifically as on direct examination the state elicited, there was no objection, presumably because defense counsel believes it's helpful to them, that did Mrs. Ali say anything about her daughter? Yes, she asked to speak with her for just 1 minute. She asked me a number of times to speak with her daughter, and for just 1 minute, and then sat down. What she never asks, and what we've elicited throughout this trial, is about the condition or welfare of her daughter. Instead, her attention is focused throughout on her husband. So that is not a comment on her right to remain silent. She has waived it, and plainly a pre-arrest silence in this case does not apply. She's not in custody. She's not arrested until days later, and she is voluntarily engaging in offering up information that she believes is important to law enforcement in their investigation in this case. So I would ask the court to deny the objection.
All right, thank you. Anything further, Mr. Leary?
What I'm struggling with is the issue in Hager and Young is there's specific questions that they provided misleading answers to, and thus they're then cross-examined. They say, well, you had an opportunity to say this to this specific question, and you refused or provided a conflicting answer. This witness didn't interview my client and didn't say, I want a detailed description of what happened. She describes, that her husband was struck, but there was no discussion, there was no interview with this officer who was just beginning on the force. And so I think it's misleading to the jury to somehow say that it was incumbent upon my client to provide a narrative when not asked by Officer Chavez. And there's body-worn video, and they're not choosing to use it. That would, they're not pointing to a specific point. At this section, this is when she provided a misleading or conflicting answer or an incomplete answer. It's just that somehow she was supposed to volunteer information, and I think that's improper.
All right, thank you. There were 3 questions where there were objections. The first question was, and during the course of that, did she, and this were questions to Officer Chavez related to interactions with Mrs. Ali, did she provide you a statement, meaning did she come to give you a statement? Objection sustained. I continue to sustain that objection. The next question was, during the course of your time with her, did she voluntarily speak with you? Response, yes. Mr. Leary objected. I sustained the objection. I no longer sustain that objection, and I overrule that objection. And that question should be re-asked of the witness, and she will be able to answer that question, whether or not Mrs. Ali voluntarily spoke with her. If Mrs. And we already actually know that she did, because the officer has already testified to some of their interactions and some of the statements that Mrs. Ali made voluntarily to Officer Chavez. And these cases talk about when a defendant does not remain silent and instead talks to police. It doesn't say answers questions asked by the police. It says when they talk to the police, the state may comment on what the person does not say. And that, by asking those questions, it is not commenting on a right to remain silent because the person has chosen not to remain silent, and instead has chosen to voluntarily speak with law enforcement. And so in that way, I am going to be overruling the objection and allowing the witness to answer questions. I do not find that that violates Mrs. Ali's constitutional right to remain silent, does not violate, really the argument is the state commenting on a right to remain silent because she did not remain silent. Let's address the video if there is an issue as it relates to the video at this point. First, I'll ask, was there an opportunity to review the exhibit that's been referenced this morning? Ms. Stone?
Yes, Your Honor, I provided all 3 of those exhibits from Officer Bell's body camera to defense counsel. My understanding from Mr. Leary is that he is objecting to one of them. I'm not sure entirely of the base, but the basis for that objection in terms of what evidence rule But it may be that he wants to play it for the court first, and I suppose I would ask for clarification from Mr. Leary. That conversation happened literally just before the court. The review of the videos happened while the court was off the bench. The conversation about where Mr. Leary's objections might land happened just a bit before the court came in. So I'd ask Mr. Leary for clarification.
So actually, I'm going to stop you there, Mr. Leary, because I want to bring Officer Chavez back and conclude. We're at 11:20 and the jury's been in recess for quite a while. Now that I know that it's going to be a lengthier issue and that it could require me to review the video that is being objected to, that's going to take longer. So I prefer to conclude this witness, then I can let the jury go for lunch and we can deal with the video issue at that time, and then I will fully hear from you at that time.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Please bring the jury back in. Please adjourn.
Thank you.
Please be seated. Members of the jury, at the time that we took our recess, there had been 3 questions and there had been 3 objections. I sustained 2 objections, and then on the last question I didn't rule, and that's when you went for your morning recess. You will not probably specifically remember, nor am I going to repeat what those questions were. I would indicate, however, that as to the second question where I sustained the objection, I've changed that ruling and I'm now overruling that objection. And as to the third objection that I had not ruled on, I am overruling that objection. Ms. Stone, you may continue.
Thank you. Officer Chavez, when we left off, I believe my question to you was, did Mrs. Ali come to voluntarily speak with you?
Yes.
And how would you describe her engagement in trying to provide you information? Meaning, eager, reluctant, something else?
She appeared eager.
Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
How did she engage with you? How would you describe that engagement?
Her initial reaction to seeing me appearing on scene was to approach me and begin to plead or beseech me.
Okay. And during that interaction, who was she expressing her concern for? When you say beseech you, about what? What does that mean?
Would you like me to tell you what she told me?
And ask questions.
I see.
That's okay.
When she initially made contact with me, she asked if I recognized her, confirmed that I knew who she was, and then stated that there had been people punching her husband.
Okay. And did she describe details about what that looked like?
She made the punching motions with her hand.
Okay. And throughout that interaction with her, who, if anyone, throughout the course of the entire interaction, who, if anyone, did she express primary concern for?
Could you restate the question?
Yeah, I'll
Sorry.
rephrase that. When you interacted with Mrs. Ali, did she express concern for her husband?
Yes.
Did that seem important to her?
Yes.
During your interaction with Mrs. Ali, did she ask about the specific health of Fatima?
No.
Did she ever discuss the actions of her husband on Fatima during that period of time?
No.
And how much of your interaction with her was focused on her husband's condition and what Isaiah had done to her husband?
I would say that was her primary focus.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Mr. Kading, cross-examination.
Officer Chavez, so you got to the scene, you talked to the kids that were out front at the bus stop, right?
Correct.
You never went into the school?
I did not.
And you said you didn't know where Fatima had come from, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you talk to any of the kids about when Zahraa arrived on scene?
How do you mean?
Okay, sorry. You can indicate you can't answer, you don't understand, but you can't ask
I
questions.
understand. I don't understand the question.
Okay, when the kids you were talking to about what happened, did they tell you when Zahraa got there?
Not specifically.
Okay. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Leary, cross-examination.
Thank you.
So, just to follow up, you had no information about Fatima, correct? In terms of her condition, correct?
Correct.
Couldn't see her, correct?
Correct.
Didn't see what was going on inside the school, correct?
Correct.
Whether she had been seen by the fire department, correct?
Not initially, correct.
What's that?
I did not initially know her condition, no.
Okay. And so, and you never told Zahraa that you had information about her daughter, correct?
At one point I did, yes.
Okay. As to her condition?
As to her being seen by the fire department.
Okay. Did you have information as to what the results were of that?
I did not.
And did you make efforts on the radio to inquire how she was doing?
I did not.
Okay. So, but in front of her is her husband who's been handcuffed and detained, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you told her that she couldn't go to the school to check on her daughter, correct?
Correct. I told her she could not go to the school.
Right. So couldn't go to see what the fire department was doing, correct?
Correct.
You ordered her to stay away from the school.
Correct.
And she followed your directive, right?
She did.
Okay. So then her husband has been, from the outward appearance, arrested, right?
Correct.
Right. So he's in handcuffs, correct?
Correct.
Put in the back of a squad car, correct? And she is concerned for him, right? She appears to be concerned for him, correct?
Correct.
And describing how he had been punched repeatedly in the head, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that was information that she wanted you to have to understand, you meaning collectively the police, about her husband, right?
I would think so, yes.
Okay.